Hello and welcome to the Ice Guys. This is the show that takes you into the world of the National Hockey League. Every game, every day, from a betting perspective. With pro sports handicappers, Ian Cameron, Alex B. Smith, and various guests from the world of hockey and sports betting. And now, here's your host, Ian Cameron.
Welcome to the Ice Guys. Wednesday, May 13th, Ian Cameron with you, ready to break it all down. We have one game only tonight, standalone game in the Stanley Cup playoffs. It's Game 5, Minnesota Wild, Colorado Avalanche, with the Colorado Avalanche looking to finish off that series tonight. We'll break that game down in just a minute, and we'll also recap last night's two games. But first, a reminder, we've got our Patreon exclusive live betcast coming your way tonight for Game 5 between the Minnesota Wild and the Colorado Avalanche, Ball Arena in Denver, as the Avs will look to put that series away, leading 3-1. 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern time tonight is when that betcast will begin. So make sure you are a Patreon member. You could only watch this betcast tonight by becoming a Patreon member, and also join the betcast by becoming a Patreon member. You must be one, so get on board if you aren't already. $10 per month over at patreon.com/Ice Guys and be part of that live betcast tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern. And don't forget, we have another one tomorrow night on Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern. And that one will be for Game 5 between the Montreal Canadiens and Buffalo Sabres. And that's a great segue into the beginning of the recap. And a hats off and shout out to the Buffalo Sabres last night. That was a gutsy, dig deep, find a way to win game last night after a rough Game 2, a rough Game 3. And you could tell in Game 4 last night, off the opening faceoff, Buffalo was ready to go. They were ready to battle. They were ready to up the ante last night and do what they had to do to try to even that series. They couldn't have started the game better in the first 8 to 10 minutes. The shots, I think, were 8-1 at one point for the Buffalo Sabres last night. You know, they had the start they wanted. They got the early goal from Matthias Samuelsson. It was a great job by him to get up into the play, and it was an equally great assist sent his way on that first goal up there by Norris, and Doan assisting on that goal as well. And then, of course, Buffalo looks like maybe they've gone up 2-0 with the next goal that went in. Puck was definitely in the glove of Jakob Dobish, but the glove was over the line, and the puck was over the line when it was in the glove, and so that part of it was correct. And it looked like it was going to be 2-0 Buffalo, but then Marty St. Louis, after it was ruled a goal, ends up challenging for goalie interference. He ends up winning that challenge, and the goal comes off the board after all. It remains 1-0 Buffalo. Bit of a tough pill there, and then basically to see a minute or two later, Alex Newhook, who has just become, I don't know, all of a sudden the Wayne Gretzky of playoff goal scorers here right now for the Montreal Canadiens, scores again, you know, and I did consider him for bargain bin special, but he did tie that game for Montreal. And then for Buffalo, it was such a very, very painfully tough swing there where they think they're up 2-0. And then a couple minutes ago, you know, it's tied 1-1. And then, of course, late in the period, Cole Caulfield gets a power play goal, 2-1 Montreal, even though Buffalo outshot Montreal 12-8 in the first period. And if you're Buffalo, after that first period being down 2-1, you're like, how the fuck are we losing? How the hell are we trailing in this game? We had a hell of a period. We had a great first period, especially at even strength, 5-on-5. How the hell are we trailing 2-1 right now? After this first period, and it easily could have gone off the rails for Buffalo at that moment. Like, that could have been a knockout blow mentally. Like, look at this. We've played a good period, and somehow we're losing the game. Somehow we're down 2-1 after that first period. But credit to Buffalo. You know, they kept playing. They knew they were doing a lot of good things. They had a solid start to the second period. Tage Thompson gets the power play goal to make it 2-2. 7-minute mark of the second period. This is the point of the game where Montreal started to carry the play. And the first half of the game was total domination for the most part by Buffalo. But once it was 2-2, Montreal started to tilt the play a little bit. Late in the second period, into the third period, They started to get their sea legs under them. What the difference was last night in the game was, other than the Caulfield power play goal, in a game where, once again, there were a lot of power play chances, Buffalo was a little more opportunistic. We saw the Thompson power play goal. Montreal had some great chances. They had a 4-minute power play opportunity they couldn't cash in on. And then, of course, Buffalo gets the early third period power play with Benson scoring on it to go up 3-2, and then the Sabres are able to hang on. Very frustrating at the over that we couldn't get at least a sixth goal for the push. But we did have first period over. We did have Buffalo, but we also had Montreal team total over. So we split. We made some profit, though. We said that. As long as one of Buffalo hits or the Montreal team total, we're going to come out of that with some profit. We did, so we'll take it. But Buffalo, what a job. What a gut check performance to win 3-2, tie up the series, 2 games apiece, and now it's down to a best of 3. And UPL, Lindy Ruff, he was going to get, roasted if the change and the decision to switch goalies didn't work, but he's going to get all the praise now that it did work, and it did work. UPL was outstanding, absolutely phenomenal. Yeah, you could quibble about the Caulfield goal. Maybe that's when he should have stopped. But in the last 2 periods, he was amazing for the Buffalo Sabres. Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen was outstanding in that game for the Sabres. To be honest with you, Dobish wasn't that bad. And by the way, I got to vent a little bit. There's not often we can call a bargain bin special of the night pick a bad beat. Usually it's just going to be, he doesn't get the chances to score goals, and if he does get a chance, he hits the net or a routine save. We had Consta, and I didn't even realize he wants it pronounced this way. Hellenis is apparently the way. Now, I can't figure this shit out, man. I really can't. We got the guy in L.A. I've always known it to be, when it's spelled Helenius, I've always known that to be Hellenius. It's been Hellenius with a bunch of other players from the past. The guy that plays with the Kings right now out in L.A. is Samuel Hellenius. That's how you pronounce it. And all of a sudden, for some reason, here in Buffalo, Consta wants it as Hellenis. So it's Consta Hellenis here. So I don't know, man. Same spelling, but different pronunciation. Drives you nuts sometimes. But hey, if the player wants it pronounced that way, you got to roll with it. But we had Consta Hellenis last night. And oh my gosh, the chances. He got absolutely robbed by Dobish on a 2-on-1. There's another glorious chance he had. He hit the post as well. I mean, he just had it was just soul-sucking, heartbreaking to lose that. So like I said, it was a great call. I mean, I don't regret it. I just wish we had gotten one of those to go in. But he was very good, by the way. He had a very, very strong game for Buffalo. His addition into the lineup, that's another good coaching move Lindy Ruff made, because it paid off. He had a really strong game for Buffalo. Give him credit. First ever NHL Stanley Cup playoff game. And you could see clearly he was visible throughout that game, Consta Hellenis, with the way he played. There's no doubt about that. Yeah. Hellenis wheels. Yeah, there we go. Good one there, Lights Out DNB. I've got to give you royalties for that. I think we've come up with a song reference here for Consta Hellenis. Hellenis wheels. That's the old Paul McCartney and the Wings song from the 70s. So there we go. Add it to the fucking playlist, Addison, wherever you are. Add it to that Ice Guys greatest hits playlist we've got going on right now with that one. Helen Wheels for Consta Hellenis. So yeah, no goals, no song. That's a good point. He didn't score, so we shouldn't have given him too much of a musical interlude there. But anyway, he still had a solid game, and Buffalo. And because of that win, by the way, Buffalo cashes our 6 and 7 game series bets. Our sequence of 6 and 7 game bets in this series. We had a series to go 6, series to go 7. We had Montreal 4-2, 4-3, exact series result. Buffalo 4-2, 4-3, exact series result. So now I love it. I'm probably still going to have to pick sides and bet sides here in game 5, 6, and or a 7 if there is one. But the main premise now is that we thought this was going to be a long series, a chance for it to go 6 and 7. And if I were to choose, or anyone in my position here were to choose, they could just sit back and not bet another side in this series. They could just say, you know what, we've cashed our 6-7 game exact number of games in the series bet, regardless of who wins. We're going to cash Montreal or Buffalo 4-2, 4-3, exact series result either way. Now we could just sit back, count the money, count the cash, and just sit back and say, hey, may the best team win and not make another move. But of course, you know me, I'm high volume. We'll still give you some opinions. We'll still give you some sides that we like here in the games remaining in this series. But like I said, this has been a great playoffs for this approach. If you think it's going to be a long competitive series, the 6-7 game approach, taking both teams 4-2, 4-3, and you're going to get out of it with profit. You're going to get out of it with profit because the 4-2, 4-3 series result numbers, all of them are well above plus 300. In some cases, plus 500. I've even seen plus 600 or 700 with some of these. So you're going to make profit when it comes to that. So, like I said, it's a great betting approach in the Stanley Cup playoffs. If you think it's going to be a competitive long series, all you need it to do is go 6 games, and you're going to be in profit. And we've done that with Montreal Buffalo. We've done that with Vegas Anaheim is another series we did that with. And I did it with Minnesota Colorado, and we're going to need some help on that one. We're going to need a Minnesota win tonight to be able to cash that one. I'm not sure we're going to get it. We'll get to that in a little bit when we preview Game 5. And then the other game last night, Vegas and Anaheim. Again, a very close game. I think Anaheim, there's no shame in their performance, even though they lost 3-2 in overtime. I think they did a lot of good things. They got the early power play goal. I did not agree with Braden McNabb getting a 5-minute major there. Clearly a late hit, clearly a penalty, but I thought 5 minutes was a little harsh for that hit on Ryan Poehling. And I know Ryan Poehling got injured and left the game for the Anaheim Ducks, didn't return. I thought Braden McNabb getting a 5-minute major is a little much. As far as that's concerned. And look, I have no dog in that fight last. I actually had a small bet on Anaheim just because of the price. So, and I still thought it should have been not a 5-minute major there. But nevertheless, they capitalized on it. If you get a 5-minute major, you got to come through. You got to take advantage of it. Anaheim did for the 1-0 lead. Beckett Seneca, again, was absolutely outstanding last night for Anaheim. Got him on the board. But then, of course, Vegas, the power play goal. And just a spur of the moment, they got out of the 5-minute major, only giving up the 1 goal. I just had that feeling Vegas was going to cash in on that late first period power play. I took them team total over 0.5, but Vegas to score a goal first period plus 210 just before they went on that late first period power play down 1-0, and sure enough they tied it up with Pavel Dorofeyev's goal. So that was a great live bet there in that one. And then, of course, second period, it would turn into a bit of a stalemate. Good goaltending, by the way. Dostal, even in a losing cause, played very well. And Carter Hart bounced back. He didn't have a great game 4, rather, in Anaheim. He was a lot better last night in Game 5. Tremendous game from Carter Hart. Very, very strong. Vegas goes up 2-1 in the second period. How about Tomas Hertl? He almost goes 30 straight games without a goal. Now he's got goals in back-to-back games. Funny how hockey works. And all of a sudden, Hertl has got goals in back-to-back games. But then Olin Zellweger, an unsuspecting source, ends up tying the game for the Anaheim Ducks 2-2 late in the third. And then it goes to overtime, and Skorofeyev, a.k.a. Pavel Dorofeyev, with the overtime winner, 3-2 Vegas. They take a 3-2 series lead. Series not over yet, though. Anaheim has been right there with Vegas throughout this series. They're also a perfect 4-0 off a loss. For the Anaheim Ducks. The Anaheim Ducks are perfect 4-0 off a loss here in the playoffs. They have not lost 2 games in a row. I think their home record here in the playoffs is now 4-1 in the playoffs at Honda Center. They played well at home. Last line change matters. And if Vegas is still going to be without Mark Stone for Game 6, I could see this going to a Game 7. I could see Anaheim winning Game 6, staying alive. And then Game 7, that one might be the tough one to win. Game 7 for the first time for a lot of these Ducks players, and a lot of the Vegas players have been in a Game 7 before. But I think Anaheim's got it in them to push this to 7. Now, the counter argument to that is Vegas has been phenomenal in Game 6s. And we saw in the first round, 2-2 series, it was there for the taking. They won Game 5 at home, and then they went to Game 6 in Utah, and they rolled Utah. They took over that game, and their experience won out over the young Utah Mammoth who were trying to stay alive. That could happen here too, and maybe Vegas does close it out Thursday night in Anaheim for Game 6. But they had Mark Stone for Game 6 in Utah, and there's a chance they may not have in that closeout game in that series. They may not have him here for Game 6 of this series Thursday night. Not to mention Coach Q with the adjustments, Anaheim off a loss. The last line change is significant. That's another thing, too. Anaheim couldn't get all the matchups they wanted with that game being on the road last night. They'll get that at home. So I'm not counting Anaheim out just yet. This series could very well go 7 games, in my opinion. We'll see what happens tomorrow night with Game 6 in Anaheim, Vegas Golden Knights and Anaheim Ducks. A quiet night for a change for Brett Howden, unfortunately. But hey, I guess he was due for a night where he was going to be kept off the scoreboard. And last night was one of those nights for Brett Howden. Still had a great playoffs for sure for the Vegas Golden Knights, without a doubt. All right, let's get into tonight's game. We'll go very quick through this. We'll be on for the betcast tonight, so short show is never a bad thing. It's Game 5. It's the Colorado Avalanche trying to finish off the Minnesota Wild here on home ice. The current price here in this game has Colorado about minus 210 is what I'm seeing here as home favorites. So they are a big, sizable home favorite here in this game in the minus 210 range. 6.5 being the total here in this game. Again, Colorado leading the series 3-1 and looking to basically put it to an end here tonight in Game 5. First of all, to start the preview in this Game 5 tonight, no changes for Minnesota. Status quo. We talked about how they've missed Joel Eriksson and Jonas Brodin this whole series, and it's kind of turned into Jonas Brodin and Joel Eriksson watch throughout this series. But no change as far as that's concerned. They are both out once again. They didn't even make the trip with the Minnesota Wild to Denver here for Game 5 tonight, so they won't be in the lineup as far as this game is concerned. As far as this one goes, Minnesota, the thing that you're always leery about in these kind of situations, when a team knows they were bad, plays bad, knows they were bad, and a lot of times at this time of year, they're going to step up and be a lot better. And I wouldn't completely rule that out for Minnesota. That was a bad Game 4 for them. They were out-competed, out-hustled, out-worked. They didn't generate much offensively. They were heavily outplayed. The shot clock bared that out. Expected goals bared that out. Scoring chances bared that out. It was just Colorado. That was their most dominant game of the series. Arguably, you could say it was in Game 4. Certainly one of their most dominant games of the series. And Minnesota was just not very good as far as that goes. But at the same point in time, Minnesota is clearly, they got the one win without Eriksson in Game 3. That got Colorado's attention. Colorado's first loss of the playoffs. They were probably due for a stinker. They had one in Game 3, and boy, did they respond in Game 4. And now that they're one game away from, making it to the conference finals, getting some rest, I think it's tough for Minnesota. I also think, too, and this was a good point that a couple people that I've listened to have made, Minnesota did have something taken out of them by Dallas. That was a tough series. There were a lot of close games, a lot of pressure minutes, exhausting minutes, not just physically, but mentally in that Dallas series. You had a pretty quick turnaround, to start the Colorado-Minnesota series, whereas Colorado got all that rest after playing LA and sweeping the Kings in 4 straight games. And it just feels like now you're going into the altitude, the thin air. You've played a lot of hockey. John Hines is running poor Quinn Hughes into the ice. 35 minutes, really? I know he's a great player, but my gosh, he's got to be running on fumes right now. Quinn Hughes on the blue line for the Minnesota Wild. Fatigue's got to be kicking in a little bit. He's just played the fuck out of all his top guys, not just Hughes and Faber on the blue line, but he's probably played Kaprizov and Boldy and Zuccarello and a lot of those guys more because, they're so depleted at the center ice spot right now, especially without Joel Eriksson. So I just worry all of that's taking a toll now here on Minnesota. How much is left in their tank? That's a real concern that I've got for them now. Going back to Colorado here for Game 5, especially thin air altitude, not going to make things any easier for them here. I would expect them to step up their effort for sure. I just don't know if it's going to be enough here to extend the series. What I do like here is I like there to be goals here. I don't know if we're going to get 9-6, but just the way I see this game going is I see Colorado was starting to finally, really get their offensive game going as far as danger looks, danger chances, scoring chances, shots, you name it. They started to really penetrate Minnesota defensively in Game 4. Now back home, I can see it being more of the case as well. So I'm going to go first period over, full game over by Fecta here in this game. Wild and Abs. First period over is cashed in all but one game of this series. Full game over is cashed in all but one game of this series. I think it's a higher scoring game. I think we get back to that 4-3, 5-4 type of game tonight. And I also don't trust Blackwood fully to be as good as he was in the last game. It's one thing to come in, have that great first start, and he did have that for Colorado in Game 4. But now your second start, that's often where we see the dip. That's often where we see the decline a little bit. So I think Minnesota scores some goals here tonight, but I think Colorado will as well. I think, too, Wallstad, as great as he's been, I think we're starting to see him kind of, I don't want to say wear down, but he's faced a lot of extreme pressure minutes for the Minnesota Wild. Colorado at home probably has the chance to break it down a bit. Let's not forget, Colorado scored 9 goals in Game 1 against Minnesota in this building and scored 5 goals in Game 2 against Minnesota in this building. So it's not like, and obviously, look, the 9 goals was Game 1 with Wallstead. The 5 goals Game 2 was Gustafsson, but still in net for the Wild. But still, they haven't been able to slow down Colorado in this building in this series. So, I like the over by Fecta here. I like third period over. Get that at BetMGM. We're going to be on that for sure. Elimination game. It's a standard bet. Now, I'm going to absolutely only bet the third period over small. We've got the betcast tonight. We're going to basically, evaluate where the game score is and where it sits late second period, second intermission, and probably add to it, especially if Colorado's leading by a goal or two at that point in the hockey game. So on the betcast tonight for our Patreon members, we're definitely going to have some options as far as live wagering, second period later in this game for sure. But like I said, I'm on the over by Fecta, third period over, empty net goal, Avs empty net goal. Again, both of those are at BetMGM as well here for this game tonight. And also a little bit of Colorado team total over 3.5, which you can get at -130 is the best price. Pinnacle as -130, FanDuel, Caesars as -130. Shop around for that. But a little Colorado team total over 3.5 pregame. Just a pinch on that. We can always add to it if, Colorado's not at that 4-goal mark. If they're sitting at, for some reason, let's say they're at 2 goals or even 3 goals, it's late second period, early third period, you can always look at a live team total based on where the game flow is at, what the score is, what the situation is. So that's definitely something to look at here as well. So those are what I'm looking at. That's what I'm on pregame as far as side or total. As far as props for this game are concerned, in a game that I think the offense will come back to the forefront. Here's the thing with the series, after Game 1, we have seen things tighten up, and yet 2 of the games have still gone over the total. So that tells you how difficult it is to cash an under. We haven't seen fewer than 6 goals at any point in this series yet. So, that's what makes it in an elimination game. You will never see me betting an under in an elimination game. That's just, it's just too dangerous to do that, especially with how many goals you could see. I mean, if you're going to bet an under, I actually would say bet a first period under, bet a early in the game under, but the third period could just blow up on you. And actually, we've seen, even without it being an elimination game, we've seen that happen in this series. Game 4 a couple nights ago comes to mind. But shots on goal props, Zuccarello's gone over in 6 straight. The price isn't great, over 1.5 shots, -160, but he has gone over that in 6 straight games. Ryan Hartman's gone over 2.5 shots on goal for Minnesota in 4 straight games. I think that is definitely worthy of a bet. Nazem Kadri, he's gone over 2.5 shots on goal, even money. Brock Nelson for the Colorado Avalanche, he's gone over 1.5 shots on goal, 2 straight games. That price is too pricey, though, -180. Makar over 2.5 shots on goal in 2 straight games for the Colorado Avalanche going into tonight. Those are some of the shots on goal numbers that stand out. This could be a night, too, for McKinnon, with the chance to finish off the Minnesota Wild and eliminate their opponent to maybe get over his shots on goal. You could see him finally, be chipping in as well. Point props, Nazem Kadri has gotten a point in 5 straight playoff games, so it's hard not to look at Nazem Kadri. Vladimir Tarasenko, 2 straight games with a point, and with Eriksson Ek still out, Tarasenko's impact on the team becomes greater. So the point prop at plus 190 for Tarasenko. Brock Faber's gotten a point in 2 straight games, and you're not laying minus 190 with him like you are for Quinn Hughes. We're talking plus 120, plus 125 for Brock Faber to get a point here. Yurov got obviously on the board last game too. Marty Necas, I agree. Marty Necas could be someone to get things rolling a bit for Colorado. Brock Nelson got a point last game, so pointing some of those out. McKinnon's on a 5-game goal-scoring streak. We cashed our bargain bin special with Parker Kelly for Colorado, plus 800 in Game 4 with what ended up being the game-winning goal in the 3rd period for the Avs. Yeah, I'm going to come back to Parker Kelly. It's not going to be my bargain bin tonight, but I am still going to come back to the well with Parker Kelly for the Colorado Avalanche here tonight. He's just one of those players that's got that ability, to be able to make it happen. Gabe Landeskog, there's still, he's still not priced to the level that Nathan McKinnon and Marty Necas on that line is. Colton with Colton and Waugh, but especially Colton with that line. Colton, Nelson, Waugh, they were able to get some things going. So there's some good prop opportunities here tonight in this game. Looks like Sam Malinsky, by the way, and Arturi Lehkonen are both still out for Colorado. They were late scratches in Game 4 in Minnesota. It looks like they're both out tonight. So it still looks like we're going to see Taves, Makar, Kulak, Burns, Josh Manson, and Jack Ahan on the blue line here for the Minnesota for the Colorado Avalanche. So that is definitely something to keep in mind. So again, looks like the lineup is still going to be the same here for Colorado for the most part. Good stuff. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting tonight. Minnesota is trying to stay alive. Yeah, you know what the thing is? I expect Minnesota is going to be a tough out for Colorado tonight. I don't think there's going to be a cakewalk for the Avs. I know there's people that are lowering the casket already on the Minnesota Wild here tonight, but I think they're gonna play hard. I think they're gonna be in the game. I just don't know if they're gonna have what it takes to get over the hump and win the game. And even if they do win tonight, I think they're losing Game 6 back at home. It would be so Minnesota Wild to see their season. How many times have their season ended with a home loss in the Stanley Cup playoffs over the years? A ton. So if Colorado doesn't get them tonight, they probably get them in Game 6 back in Minnesota. Colorado, another team that's been good off a loss. In fact, I think Colorado, going back to the regular season, is 8-1 or 9-1 off a loss going into tonight. So, like I said, could be something worth a look. You know what? People that, if you like Minnesota, here's an angle you could get to. And I think I might even take this too. They were disgusted with the way they played. John Hines, the players, and rightfully so. That was a bad Game 4. Like, they were clearly the second best team in Game 4. In this game, they got their backs against the wall. You would expect if they're going to have a chance to win this game, you got to start good, start strong. The Minnesota goal in the first period is a respectable, reasonable number here. Minus 128 for Minnesota Wild goal in the first period. I think I'm going to bet that. This is Blackwood now, second game. I don't know. Let's see if he can do it again. Often when we see goalie changes, we see the first game, it works. Team responds to it. Team wins. The goalie plays well. That's what we saw with Blackwood and with Colorado in Game 4. And sometimes there's a little dip that second game when they play the second straight time. So that goal in the first period at minus 128 for Minnesota, I think that's worth a look. I do here tonight. Not to mention, if you look at Minnesota in this series, Game 1, we saw Minnesota score a first period goal. Game 2, we saw Minnesota score a first period goal. Game 3, remember Game 3, the one game Minnesota won, they were up 2-0 after the first period. And Game 4, even though they lost 5-2, they scored in the first period on that 4-minute power play they had when it was the butt end of the stick from Josh Manson to Michael McCarron in that first period. And Minnesota scored on the power play. So Minnesota is actually 4-0 as far as getting on the board and scoring in the first period here in this series. So that Minnesota goal in the first period, minus 128 is the price at FanDuel. Sign me up. I love that. That's great. That's not even something I had on my card initially. That's on the fly handicapping right here on the Ice Guys show. And I've taught myself into it. So there you go. Minnesota goal in the first period, -128. They've scored a first period goal all 4 games here in this series. All right, shout out to everyone in the chat. Hit the like button. We appreciate it very much. And like I said, we got the Betcast tonight for our Patreon members. Hope you all are able to join us. Patreon members only, of course. So 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern, Game 5, Minnesota, Colorado, live Betcast. Looking forward to it. And, of course, to be part of that Betcast, become a Patreon Ice Guys member, just $10 per month. Goalie charts, totals charts, daily betting card, sides, totals, player props posted each and every day on the Patreon page. Make sure you get on board. Again, your membership goes a long way to supporting the show, keeping it going long term. Another thing, too, the All Sports Dub Club, $50 off discount. All sports discounted for 1 month. Your first month from $75 to $25 is still available for Patreon members. So make sure you get on board with that. $10 per month. Patreon.com/Ice Guys. That is still available. MLB, NBA playoffs, UFL, CFL's coming up. Historically, one of my strongest sports. So to get on board with any of that, the $50 off Dub Club subscription discount, still available for Patreon members only. So make sure you check it out. Get on board, $10 per month at patreon.com/Ice Guys. And of course, too, wizardsportspicks.com, NHL Stanley Cup playoffs, NBA playoffs, MLB, CFL coming up in a month and more. Daily premium picks, long-term subscription pass is available. Check out the Wizard Sports Picks YouTube channel as well. Tons of great content there, wizardsportspicks.com, and the Ice Guys store. Get your gear and your merch over at the Ice Guys store. That's at iceguys.myspreadshop.com. All right, bargain bin special of the night and best bet. Sorry about that. Bargain bin special of the night and best bet coming up right after we hear from our great Ice Guys sponsors.
Wizard Sports Picks, featuring the finest handicappers in the universe. Sharp insights, trusted picks, and relentless results. We strive to help you become consistent winners. This is Wizard Sports Picks.
All right, bargain bin special of the night here for the one and only game, standalone game here, Game 5, Minnesota Wild, Colorado Avalanche. As far as bargain bin special here for this one and only game here on this Wednesday night, and for bargain bin special of the night for me tonight, I am going to go to we cashed with Parker Kelly for Colorado in the last game of this series for the Colorado Avalanche. We didn't cash with anybody for Minnesota in that last game. But for me here tonight for bargain bin special of the night, I like what he's been able to do. He scored a goal in this series at home already. It's my one and only pick tonight. We're going to go with Nicholas Waugh for the Colorado Avalanche. Plus 510 is the best price available. And getting opportunity on the second line for the Colorado Avalanche as well. So that is it. The one and only bargain bin special of the night here tonight. Nicholas Waugh for the Colorado Avalanche. Plus 510 for my bargain bin special of the night. Best bet. Let's just go straight forward. Over 6.5 here with the full game total. I think we get over that number tonight. Over 6.5 minus 102 is the best price out there currently with that. Full game over is one in every game except one in this series. This is an elimination game. So even if it's lower scoring early, we could get an explosion in the third period, multiple empty net goals. Minnesota gets a goal with the extra attacker, and then Colorado comes back, scores an empty netter you could get just craziness late. And I think that's exactly what we're going to see here tonight in Game 5. So we'll go with that. Minnesota, Colorado, over 6.5, -102 for my best bet. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Hit the like button. We appreciate it very much. We've got a great Alex has not sent in picks yet. If he does, we will make sure we post them on the Patreon page later. Actually, you know what? He just sent them. So there, did he? Hold on. Yeah, he's got a light slate tonight. He's got empty net goal +110, Avs to score an empty net goal +175, and his bargain bin special, no best bet. I don't think. Actually, you know what? His best bet is probably empty net goal +110. I would think. Brock Nelson over 1.5 goals +2,200. So 2 or more goals. Brock Nelson for Colorado is Alex's bargain bin special for the game tonight. So there you go. He just sent it to me, so good timing on that. An empty net goal +110 is his best bet. So there you go. And my best bet, Minnesota, Colorado over 6.5, -102. Great stuff. Hit the like button on the way out. Reminder, the Ice Guys is live 7 days a week, Monday to Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern, Saturday, Sunday, noon Eastern. If you can't watch the show live, download the Ice Guys podcast in audio form on all major podcast platforms, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, and more. Download the Ice Guys podcast when you can't watch the show live. I'm Ian Cameron. Have a great Wednesday. Enjoy the games and good luck. And we will see you, if you're a Patreon member, that is, we will see you in about 5 hours from now, 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern time, for our live betcast of Game 5 between the Minnesota Wild and Colorado Avalanche. And we will also, of course, see you tomorrow on Thursday, 2 p.m. Eastern, for another edition of the Ice Guys.